we are too preachy with our family. We start becoming a khatib and a speaker to our families, and they get annoyed, and you make the problem worse. Instead of making things better, you end up making them worse. Sometimes the best way to deal with our family is the most indirect path. I'm going to start with a couple of common ones. Where do I start helping? So someone who is in the wrong path, sitting, not praying, not listening to anyone. This is a very common question. Some of you have these questions about your family members. Some of you have them about your friends and other situations. A couple of important pointers here. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ was not given any authority to change his own uncle. And the Quran is full of prophets who were not able to bring change to their loved ones, right? So Nuh alayhi salam couldn't change his wife, and Ibrahim alayhi salam couldn't change his father, and Yaqub alayhi salam couldn't change his sons, and so on and so forth, right? So the reason that's given to us is because you're not given the authority or the ability to change someone else. What you are given the ability to do is to remind someone else. Then the question becomes, what's the most effective way you can remind someone? And my opinion on that is that we are too preachy with our family. We start becoming a khatib and a speaker to our families, and they get annoyed, and you make the problem worse. Instead of making things better, you end up making them worse. Sometimes the best way to deal with our family is the most indirect path, because otherwise, I remember when I wasn't into Islam, if some family member of mine tried to tell me about prayer or this or that, I would just get annoyed. Like, why are you telling me? Right? Sometimes they want to listen, and it's in the Quran. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ, and Luqman radiallahu anhu advised his son, but Allah says وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ, which is really interesting. It means he found the right time to advise him. Like, he didn't just always advise him. He saw a particular moment where he thought it's strategically really good time to bring this up right now. But what we do is, like, constantly, every day, every time, you just become like, oh my God, here comes the Sharia police. And then people just in the family start associating you with the annoying Islamic one that is going to ruin everybody else's party, right? So my advice on that would be as indirect and as subtle and as gentle as possible. The other thing I would say is sometimes people are doing sinful things like drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever they're doing. But there's the sin, and then there's the cause of the sin. And the cause of the sin isn't as simple as, oh, they're following the footsteps of shaitan, or they're mimicking the kuffar. And that's, hold on. When did they start drinking? Oh, they started drinking a year ago. Well, what happened a year ago? I don't know. Why don't you know? You're a family member. Like, you don't know what happened a year ago? People don't just go towards these sins easily. Shaitan uses some problem in their life or some event in their life and takes advantage of that, and then the waswasa becomes stronger, right? So you have to become a little more aware of what's happening in the life of the person you're trying to help. And instead of the conversation being about them not praying or them not following the religion, maybe the conversation would be more about helping them heal from what happened. And because that's the root problem. And if they see you as someone who's just trying to preach to them and convert them to a better Muslim or something, that you don't really care about them, you just want to make sure they follow what you want them to follow. So they don't see you as someone who means well for them. They see you as someone who's trying to be controlling and righteous, self-righteous, because you're better and they're worse. So you're trying to make them, better. So you're looking down at them. But actually, the notion in the Quran, فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ, right? So the orphan, the one who asks, don't talk down to them. Somebody's in pain. Somebody who's drinking alcohol is in pain. They're trying to drown away from their pain of something. What is that thing? And you have to find some creative ways to get there. A young lady, I won't mention names here, of course, so came up to me and said, how do I talk to my dad? He stopped praying or this or that. Well, maybe we should ask, Dad, what was it like when you were a kid? What was it like? Like, did you get in trouble with mom and dad a lot? And your dad might say, what are you trying to do? You're trying to convert me? It's like, no, I'm just curious. What was grandpa like? What was your life like? A lot of times our parents or these family members, nobody's shown interest in who they were or who they are or some of their most precious memories. You know what? Maybe the first barrier that you break with someone is empathy. Like you actually are interested in them, not their behavior, them. You care about them. And you know what that quality is called? That's called ra'fa. Ra'fa. And the name, a person who has that quality is called Ra'uf. Ra'uf. And that's one of the names of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bil mu'minina ra'ufun rahim. If you want to be Ra'uf to someone, it's one of the qualities of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we should actually be a little more empathetic. And then instead of just going straight for the kill, why don't you pray? There's a lot more that's going on in somebody's life that led them to not pray. So let's be a little more sensitive towards that.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video clip. My team and I have been working tirelessly to try to create as many resources for Muslims to give them first steps in understanding the Quran all the way to the point where they can have a deep, profound understanding of the Quran. We are students of the Quran ourselves, and we want you to be students of the Quran alongside us. Join us for this journey on bayinatv.com, where thousands of hours of work have already been put in. And don't be intimidated, it's step by step by step, so you can make learning the Quran a part of your lifestyle. There's lots of stuff available on YouTube, but it's all over the place. If you want an organized approach to studying the Quran beginning to end for yourself, your kids, your family, and even among peers, that would be the way to go. Sign up for bayinatv.com.